Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at a destroyer. Yes, you can see that, and you probably guessed which one. Why am I looking at so many destroyers these days? I have actually noticed, and that might just be me, but I've noticed that there seem to be a lot more destroyer players out there these days than usual. Sometimes I have games where I've got 3, 4, 5 destroyers on each team. So I figured I've got a couple of gaps in destroyers that in reviews of destroyers, the tech tree lines that I need to fill. So I may as well do that, because this is the Yueyang. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I did practice a little bit. Yueyang, which is the tier 10 Pan-Asian destroyer from the Pan-Asian tech tree. Now, as is common with the Pan-Asian tech tree, these are generally not indigenous designs, and the Yueyang is none the different. She started her life as a Alan M. Sumner class destroyer, which is effectively a slightly shorter gearing. And she was constructed DD 700, USS Hainsworth, I believe, and started in when the war was pretty much over, and just managed to catch a couple of the final battles against Japan, but was then eventually handed over to the Republic of China, not the People's Republic of China. That's a very big distinction there. These two are different. So that's why if you look at the flag, it is not the People's Republic of China flag, because the Americans wouldn't have handed their destroyers to the communists, wouldn't they? Anyway, so as that, she still had a long service life until I think the 1980s at some point, when she was decommissioned and eventually sunk as an artificial reef to give the fishes something to do. Anyway, top of the Pan-Asian destroyer line. Pan-Asian destroyers are known for their relatively good deep-water torpedoes. So let's see how she compares to the gearing, because that's the obvious comparison. She's sort of a design between Fletcher and gearing, and we'll see how that turns out. Now, she does get engine boosts, but not as many. She does get smoke, but not as many, and they're not as good. But she does get 2 radars, and I always find that a very pleasant surprise to have radars on destroyers. They can be really nasty, and it can be a good way of compensating for the lack of torpedoes that can hit enemy destroyers, because they can smoke up if they have smoke screens, but you can radar them. Unless they have radar as well, they can't radar you back. You can smoke up if you need to, and the guns are not terrible on these ships. Now, she obviously doesn't get the legendary module or the defensive AA, but the hull is very similar. The maneuverability for all intents and purposes as well. The guns are not quite as good as on the gearing. She has a slightly longer reload and a slightly lower range, but the difference is very marginal. So I would say for day-to-day use, you effectively have got gearing guns on this ship. And I would say the torpedoes are better. Now, they do take a little longer to reload, but they do more damage, they have better range, they have better speed, and they have a better flooding chance. So you can actually make use of fires and floods pretty effectively. The AA is the same, just that you don't get the defensive AA, so don't get your hopes up. And the concealment is slightly worse on the Yueyang than on the gearing, which is strange given that the gearing is actually larger as a ship than this one. But this is all just in-game mechanics. So we have a ship that's relatively similar to a gearing for all intents and purposes, but with deep water torpedoes being a main difference, and that you get the radar instead of the defensive AA. And given that the defensive AA and the gearing isn't going to make her suddenly stand up against enemy carriers, because that's what you've got the Swedish destroyers for, I don't think that's a bad trade. And honestly, in Tier 10, hitting enemy destroyers with torpedoes can be difficult to start with. So I don't really mind that. You get the choice between main battery range and additional torpedo damage and flooding chance. Now, this is 7% flooding chance, not 7 percentage points. So it's not suddenly that your flooding chance goes from 30 to 37%. It goes to 30 times 1.07, which is going to be 32 and a cookie or something. So main battery range sounds like the better option, because be ashamed to let these guns go to waste when your torpedoes are reloading. And the reload is a little on the long side. You can get the historical camouflage for the ship, which is a good camouflage to have for a destroyer, because it gives main battery range, torpedo range, max traverse, and surface detection. That's all very good things to have. And the 4% first surface detection is a bit more than you get on the free. Well, I call it free. It costs silver, and silver is generally available in abundance in most times. So it's a little better than that camo. But still, we're going to do the same 2-game thing, because historical camos at tier 10 are expensive. I think it's 6,000 gold or something. That is not something you'd ignore. So what else have we done? Equipment. I am running main battery mod 2 here, just for the gun reload, because I like playing gunboat in these ships. I find them to be pretty good gunboats. The layout with the super firing turret forward allows you to be aggressive, and you don't necessarily have to kite away, which means that if you are kiting away, you're actually at a disadvantage. But it allows you to be aggressive, and the rest is the standard setup with concealment and everything. You're not going to get quite gearing concealment in this, but you get it down to 5.5 kilometers, which is pretty good still. And with everything said and done, we have the torpedo range at just a smidgen under 10 kilometers, and we have the gun range on a similar level, and we've got the reload down to 3.4 seconds. So that is not a bad ship. There is a premium commander for the Pan-Asian line that you can use. I am not going to try and pronounce, because I haven't looked up that name, but that is one. He gives you a couple of legendary skills which are quite nice to have. So you get the increased steering gear and power system repair. So if somebody shoots your rudder or your engines off, you don't necessarily need to spend a repair kit to fix that. Or if you don't have one available, you get it back more quickly. Preheating Plus gives you a bit more speed in the beginning. And the Daredevil Plus I quite like as well. Exploit Weakness, you do actually 2% more damage to things that are on fire or flooding. So if you manage to get a torpedo salvo in on something that is flooding or on fire, you get 2% extra damage out of that. You get a better engine overload. And I am using APCS here to fight enemy destroyers, because my guns are my only weapon against enemy destroyers. And you get an improved Giant Hunter for even more torpedo damage. So all in all, it's a good set, but the first game, as usual, is going to be with a regular commander, regular setup, regular camo, and everything else. All right, anything else that we need to mention? Actually, you know what? One thing that I keep forgetting that people have been asking me to look at the battle honors again. Now, these are tech tree ships, so it's going to take a while to get through the battle honors. But you know, what else are you going to have to do with a tier 10 ship? You have nothing to grind anymore. We don't have tier 11 ships yet. First one is just win 20 battles. That's easy. 45 caps, you're in a destroyer. This is what you do. 40 battleships, again, you're in a destroyer. This is what you do. 60 times flooding with a 30% base flooding chance. I would say that is absolutely doable. And the last one is 120,000 points of damage in one battle. And that is absolutely doable as well. So there's really no difficult grind, I'd say. This is very much what you would expect. This is this kind of stuff that you do anyway in a destroyer. So you just play the ship, and eventually you get some free, what is this, steel or titanium? Steel. You get some free steel out of the equation for use in the shipyard. Anyway, so now that we've got that all out of the way, let's see the Yueyang in action. The first round is probably the worst setup that you can possibly get in this sort of ship. We're playing base capture on Encounter, obviously, because Encounter doesn't have any other mode. We're facing a carrier, an FDR. I don't know what these things are capable of, but I think they're terrible. American carriers always scare me. Izumo, a Des Moines, a Nevsky, Worcester, Shima, and Jutland. The only way this could have been any worse if there were any German destroyers out there. Anyway, so that's sort of the problem when you're in a Pan-Asian destroyer because you can't use your torpedoes against enemy destroyers. That said, there's still plenty of stuff I can hit with torpedoes. The problem being, obviously, that things like Worcesters have sonar and are not going to be something that I want anywhere near. And there's a carrier out there. So, yeah. What I'm going to be doing is I'll just first order of business. I'll try to get out of the scouting arc of the enemy carrier, and the enemy carrier is scouting in the other end of the map, which is great, which means that I'm not necessarily going to be air spotted here, and the friendly carrier is scouting this way and has detected a destroyer, which is good. So he's also detected a bunch of cruisers, so I'm just positioning myself out here as far out as I can possibly get. Because if the friendly carrier wants to push into things like Worcesters and Des Moines clustered up, that's not going to end well. So I'm just going to position myself out here and see if I can make sure that nothing gets through there. Yep, that's a Worcester and a Jutland. It could have been worse. Worcester is slowing down. So see, the thing you want to do sort of with this with cruisers, I think he's moving away. I'll just drop some torpedoes in case he turns around, but not having high hopes here. You do need to observe them somewhat. The thing is, I definitely positively do not want to be spotted out here. So don't use your smoke if you don't have to, because if you're using your smoke screen will be visible even if you yourself are out of detection range. Okay, so that first torpedo drop was a bust. We haven't really done anything with that. But I'm just here to delay them. I'm just here to keep them bottled up back there. So hopefully the rest of my team can do something useful. And I'm just waiting for the torpedoes to reload while staying out of minimal detection range away from the Izumo. Izumo obviously is something that I want to hit, but the Izumo doesn't know I'm here. Nobody knows that I'm here at this point. So Izumo is turning to start pushing down this flank and thinks that he has a clear line, which he does not. But he's still accelerating out of the turn. And if I can keep the lock on, which I can't probably because the Nevsky's in the way. No, I can. Is he slowing down again? Yes, he's slowing down again. Okay, so Izumo's gone this far forward and is now slowing down because he is taking fire. So I'm dropping torpedoes slightly behind him. And there is a friendly battleship that's coming down this flank. That's actually less good. I would have, and the carrier has taken out the Shima. So I'm gonna smoke up at this point and see if I can start setting some fires, because I think the Izumo has been reversing, but he should still be running into a couple of my torpedoes, and we'll see if we can make ourselves useful in terms of fires and floods. Ideally, I would have had no flood. Oh well, can't win them all. There's a Jutland out there, but that's a fire. Let's see if he Damacons it. Yes, he does. He has to. He's relatively low on hit points. Now Damacon's active, and my smoke screen is about to expire, so I don't think I can manage to get a double fire, get another fire before that Jutland makes himself felt. So at this point, it's probably worth starting to unload at the Jutland again, but the Jutland has smoked up. Now this is just a fuel smoke, but I'll radar spot him anyway, just so he doesn't get a clean run up, and then we'll try to set another fire on the Izumo if I can back off into that range. But I think the Izumo is buggering off at this point, and there come the Jutland torpedoes. So interestingly enough, he's dropped the torpedoes on me rather than dropping them on the battleship. That was peeking the corner. So okay, Jutland, you want to do this the hard way then. The enemy team has bottled up. The Izumo has stopped pushing. And the cruisers don't come down here either. Izumo is now shooting HE at me, which is not great if people can learn how to do this. Worcester and Des Moines. Never going to hit a Des Moines, am I? I mean, I've got nothing better to do with my torpedoes, so I may as well just drop them in the general direction and see if anybody runs into them. I've got another smoke screen ready, and I could try to unload at the Worcester. Well, we'll smoke up, we'll unload at the Worcester for now. And I've got a second destroyer here who has dropped torpedoes. We'll see if anybody runs into our torpedoes here. The Des Moines might be able to. Okay, Worcester is actually running off. What is this? Oh, it's the Holland. Okay, yeah, the Holland's got even better flooding chance than me. So Des Moines is now flooding. Holland does not have a smoke screen, but he can use mine. And Des Moines is now buggering off because he knows that he doesn't want to be on permafire, but that's a Des Moines. You don't set that thing on permafire easily. That said, we don't really need to, because we're leading on points. And all we have to do is prevent these guys from actually coming down this flank and doing anything nasty, because the Des Moines can most certainly defend itself against the carrier. And maybe we managed to get a good hit at the Izumo. So now we're just duking the shots, because Des Moines isn't particularly accurate at range, and Halland's already reloaded the torpedoes. I've got mine ready, but I don't need them right now, because Izumo is gonna die. Des Moines is overshooting, and Izumo is gonna go down to Halland torpedoes here most likely. Yep, well done, Halland. And that leaves the Des Moines, which is sort of out of the game at this point, because we've got a minute 35 and he's not going to make his way down. But with that kill, we have managed to get ahead. And it looks like... where's the enemy carrier gone? Well, it looks like one of our cruisers has managed to roll up the other flank. So now we just need to defend the center and keep these guys in check over there. Halland, we don't need to win harder. I've got a minute 13 and that's a low health Jutland. Okay, let's see if I can finish that thing off, because the carrier has spotted him. These are Jutland torps, I think. But come on, give me one hit. I'm not even going to change ammo. Okay, minor has him. Well done. So that pulls us another kill ahead, and I think we should be able to... Well, we're going to lose the one cruiser that's in the enemy capture circle, because he's never going to be allowed to survive. So Halland is pushing. And Des Moines blind firing me. So again, we're going to lose the cruiser, but we can't lose the Halland as well, because then we'll probably be behind on points. So I am going to have to become a target, and I've got more hit points than Halland. Halland, we're leading. You don't need to. We're still leading, but don't die. Okay, I'm just going to drop some torpedoes there, and then get the heck out of here. Yep, because that's what a Des Moines can do to you. And instantly repair that, and... Get into defensive position. There's the carrier coming in. I just had to take the heat of the Halland, who can help out with AA. Just have to dodge the carrier's airdrops. Might be able to still get a couple of torpedo hits actually on the FDR. Yes, and yeah, there come all the torpedoes from the FDR. I just have to not die here, and whew, that was a close one. Halland, was that necessary? Making it harder than it needed to be. Well, I appreciate the air cover though, but whew, that was a sticky one at the end there. All right, so yep, we still come second in the team, and we've done almost as much damage as the... we've actually done more damage than the carrier, so that's been a good one. Which brings us to our second round, and we're playing on the same map again. But this time it's a bot carrier, so hopefully a lot less dangerous. And we've got Vermont, Venezia, Neptune, Daring, Double Shima. What is it with people playing things that are bad against that are bad for destroyers? It's almost as if somebody had noticed something. We do have a Colbert on our side, so that is mildly useful. But let's see what we can do here, and again play tactically, because that's what I find myself doing mostly in Pan-Asian destroyers. I'm playing more tactically than, I mean, obviously if the enemy team is just completely full of battleships, I can just make myself useful and just farm them. But more often than not, you have setups like this where you have something like a Venezia out there, which is really, really bad news when you're in a destroyer. So hello team. And it looks like the Colbert is pushing, so I'm going to go and scout for the Colbert and get him something to shoot at. He's in a very light cruiser, so he probably wants to be a little careful, because something is going to come down this flank here, either on that island, the side of the island, or on this side of the island. But the carrier isn't going to scout, so I'm going to have to do it. I switch armor piercing, and Colbert has realized that he has been spotted, and yeah, that was the Shima. Hello, Shima. So Shima's probably got torpedoes away. Shima smokes up. I'm in radar range. That was exactly what I wanted. I'm going to radar the Shima, and I was hoping that Colbert had... oh, these torpedoes were actually well aimed. I think these were aimed at the Colbert, not at me. I thought he dropped earlier. Okay, I might be taking one there. Ow, yeah, I could have done without that. But... yeah, the idea was to radar the Shima, and I was hoping that the Colbert had the armor piercing loaded and had actually good angles at the Shima, but it looks like that's not the case. So yeah, Colbert is missing all his shots, unfortunately. So yeah, I think that could have gone better, but Colbert has now decided that he definitely does not want to be on this flank, And I'm now alone here to effectively heckle the enemy team and keep that Shima bottled up if I can. There's the bot carrier. I'm not too concerned with that thing, but obviously because I am the closest target, the bot carrier is going to drop. What was that? Was that Venezia? No, that was armor piercing. Still Vermont at this range. Drop the Vermont and hope that the bot carrier doesn't spot me in my smoke. Of course, the bot carrier spots me in my smoke because bots are broken. So we need to go defensive because the smoke isn't working because of the bot carrier. But the Shima... Okay, now we're far away enough that the bot carrier can no longer see me. That was unnecessary, the amount of damage that I've taken there. Vermont's still shooting at me. But I am going to let my guns go silent at this point because I need to recover a couple of hit points while dodging. And we've managed to land six torpedoes on the Vermont. There's the other Shima as well. So we've got both Shimas down here, plus Vermont, and the rest of my team is doing bugger all. All right then. They found something over there to shoot at. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep harassing this flank here. The problem obviously being that there's a carrier. Even though it's just a bot carrier, it can't really hit you, especially if it's a Japanese bot carrier. But it can keep you spotted. With things like Venezia or Vermont at this range out there is a bit of an issue. So I'm gonna have to be real careful here. Again, undetected, stop shooting my guns, and the team is still sort of holding the line, and I'm just trying to keep everybody busy down here. Because being a threat on the flank can sometimes just be all your team needs to keep the enemy distracted. So let's drop the bot carrier. I'm not sure if I can sink it. And then we'll re-engage the Shima. Hello, Shima. Hello. No, you're not safe. Come on, chase me. I mean, I'm going to lose a gun duel with the Shima, to be honest. So I'm going to smoke up, and Shima smokes up, but I have radar. So, okay, that wasn't particularly useful because Shima is not stupid and has gone to the other side of the island, but he's still visible within his smoke. And you know, he's broadsiding a Colbert, so maybe the Colbert could shoot at him. Maybe, if possible. No, the Colbert's dead. The carrier is still flooding. So if I'm lucky, that thing's going to flood out. But I'm not going to stick around in my smoke screen to find out, because there's still a Vermont out there. And there goes the carrier. Okay, so now we're ahead on points. Now, unfortunately, the carrier is once again going to keep me spotted, which means the Shima is going to shoot at me. There's going to be torpedoes in the water. And we have only lost the Colbert so far, so we are leading on points, but just marginally so. And there's still 2 minutes 40 left of this game. Now here's the problem. I can't outrun a Shima. I mean, I can try, but the carrier strike is gonna fly over me on the return leg. I don't have any more heals, and there's the cruiser. I think that was a Venezia or a Neptune or something. So I really don't have a choice here because I can't outrun that Shima. I am going to have to fight, and I am probably going to go down because that thing's got like 4 times as many hit points as I do, and I'm not particularly good in the kiting setup. It's a Neptune, so I'm a one-shot kill for that thing as well. Let's see if we can drop the torpedoes before I go down. We do need, if we lose one more ship, and one of our destroyers, yep, there comes the Neptune. One of our destroyers is busy fighting on the other flank there, and going heads first into a Venezia, which is a terrible idea. And I'm going to die to that Shima here. He's going to gun me down. There's absolutely nothing I can do about this. He has shot off my rudder. I am going to damage on that because I do need my rudder back. But even with the improved captain skill, all I'm trying to do here is delay that Shima as long as possible. Keep him spotted. Hope that somebody on my team is paying any attention. But that was it. That was pretty inevitable. Hopefully I have delayed him long enough. I've still managed to torpedo something. Could have been the Vermont or the Neptune. I'm not sure. But yeah. So the Z-46 is going to die. We are equal on kills, but we're ahead on points. But if the Z-46 goes down, we're going to lose unless my team manages to kill something. I've done my level best to give my team the time it needs to do something. And that Neptune, if you can hit that Neptune, whatever battleship that was back there, it's a Mecklenburg, and he's on low hit points. So Okay, Vermont still got all the HP, and yeah, to nobody's great surprise, Venezia has taken out the Z, who is suicided face first into the Venezia, and that's a low health Minnesota. No one's going to take out the Vermont. The only chance we have, Shima's not going to have time with Taubes. The only chance we have is if the Minnesota can take down the Neptune. That's the only possible chance we have, or the Mecklenburg. And I don't think the Minnesota is interested in winning. No, the Minnesota is not interested in winning. Mecklenburg, there come the Shimakaze torpedoes. The carrier, but I've delayed him for long enough that the bot carrier isn't going to die just yet, despite running into them, but it wasn't enough because sometimes, despite all your best efforts, you just can't carry the team to victory. Still, it was a fun battle. It was an interesting one. This is how I enjoy playing Pan-Asian destroyers. And this is how I think they should be played. Much more in a tactical role. And you can try your level best. But if your carrier comes if your bot carrier comes third in the team, that tells you a lot. Anyway, on that one... I think it's a good line. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm going to get myself one of these ships eventually. But that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.